The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows over the dense jungle that stretched endlessly in every direction. The air was thick with humidity, the kind that clung to your skin and made every breath feel like a struggle. Somewhere in the heart of this untamed wilderness, a team of archaeologists was on the brink of a discovery that would rewrite history. They had been trekking for days, guided by little more than a faded map and the whispers of local legends. The map, a fragile piece of parchment, was said to have been passed down through generations, its origins as mysterious as the city it supposedly led to. The team, led by Dr. Evelyn Carter, a seasoned archaeologist with a reputation for uncovering the impossible, had followed the map's cryptic markings to this remote location. Now, as they stood at the edge of a clearing, they could feel the weight of history pressing down on them. The clearing was unlike anything they had encountered before. The ground was unnaturally flat, as if it had been leveled by human hands centuries ago. The trees here were different too, older, taller, their gnarled roots twisting and turning like the fingers of some ancient giant. The air was eerily still, the usual cacophony of jungle sounds replaced by an almost oppressive silence. It was as if the jungle itself was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. Dr. Carter knelt down, brushing away a layer of leaves and dirt to reveal a stone slab beneath. The slab was intricately carved, its surface covered in symbols and glyphs that none of the team could immediately decipher. But one thing was clear. This was no natural formation. This was the work of human hands, and it was older than anything they had ever seen. As the team began to clear away more of the undergrowth, the true scale of their discovery started to become apparent. The stone slab was just the beginning. It was part of a larger structure, a massive stone platform that extended deep into the jungle. The platform was lined with more carvings, each one more elaborate than the last. There were depictions of gods and monsters, of great battles and celestial events. There were also symbols that seemed to represent some kind of advanced knowledge, mathematical equations, astronomical charts, and what appeared to be blueprints for machines that shouldn't have existed in the time period they were dealing with. It was as if they had stumbled upon the remnants of a civilization that had been far more advanced than anyone had ever imagined. Dr. Carter's heart raced as she realized the implications of what they had found. This wasn't just another archaeological site. This was something far more significant. This was a city, a forgotten city that had been lost to time, swallowed by the jungle, and erased from history. But why? What had happened here? And why had no one ever found it before? The questions swirled in her mind as she directed her team to set up camp. They would need to document everything, to study the carvings and symbols in detail, to try and piece together the story of this lost civilization. But even as they worked, there was a sense of unease that hung over the site. It was as if the city itself was watching them, waiting for them to uncover its secrets. As night fell, the team gathered around a campfire, the flickering flames casting long shadows across the stone platform. The jungle was alive with the sounds of nocturnal creatures, but the clearing remained eerily silent. Dr. Carter sat with her notebook, trying to make sense of the symbols they had found. She had seen many ancient scripts in her career, but this was different. The symbols seemed to shift and change, as if they were alive, as if they were trying to communicate something that couldn't be put into words. She felt a chill run down her spine as she realized that they might be dealing with something far beyond their understanding. This wasn't just a city, this was a gateway to a world that had been forgotten, a world that might not be ready to be reached. The next morning, the team began to explore the site in earnest. They found more structures, crumbling stone buildings, their walls covered in the same intricate carvings. There were statues too, their features worn away by time, but still recognizable as humanoid figures, their arms raised as if in supplication to some unseen force. The team also found evidence of a complex water system, with channels and aqueducts that suggested the city had once been a thriving metropolis. But there were also signs of a sudden and catastrophic end. The buildings were scorched, their walls blackened as if by some great fire. There were bones too, scattered among the ruins, their owners long since turned to dust. It was as if the city had been struck by some kind of disaster, one that had wiped it off the map in an instant. As the days turned into weeks, the team continued to uncover more of the city's secrets. They found a central plaza, dominated by a massive stone altar. The altar was covered in more carvings, these ones depicting a great sacrifice, with figures kneeling before a towering figure that seemed to be part human, part beast. There were also more of the strange symbols, these ones arranged in a circular pattern around the altar. Dr. Carter couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something, that there was a piece of the puzzle that they hadn't yet found. And then, on the final day of their expedition, they found a hidden chamber, buried deep beneath the altar. The chamber was small, its walls lined with more carvings and symbols, but in the center of the room was something that made Dr. Carter's blood run cold. It was a stone tablet, its surface covered in the same shifting symbols they had seen before. But this time, the symbols seemed to be arranged in a specific pattern, one that Dr. Carter recognized immediately. It was a warning to anyone who might stumble upon this place. The symbols spoke of a great power, one that had been sealed away for a reason. They spoke of a curse, one that would be unleashed if the seal was ever broken. And as Dr. Carter read the symbols, she realized with a sinking feeling that they had already done just that. The city wasn't just a relic of the past. It was a prisoner prison for something that should have remained buried. And now, it was free. The team packed up their equipment and left the site as quickly as they could. But as they made their way back through the jungle, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The jungle, once so alive with sound, was now eerily silent. The air was thick with tension, as if the very fabric of reality was straining under the weight of what they had unleashed. Dr. Carter knew that they had stumbled upon something far beyond their understanding, something that could change the world or end it, and as they emerged from the jungle, she couldn't help but wonder if they had made a terrible mistake. The city was forgotten for a reason, and now it was awake.